Hi guys, I hope you're doing well. I'm also fine, and I thank God for this opportunity that He has given me once again to be on the show. For those who are new, this is the Vima Show where we deal with love issues, relationship tips, marriage tips, and also inspirational stories. And in fact, we've also included lifestyle issues like mental health, parenting, and also motherhood. And so, welcome back and continue subscribing, sharing our content, and also liking. Remember also to comment. Today, in this episode, we have a guest. She's an amazing person, and I know you're going to enjoy everything and whatever we are going to talk about here. I also know that God is going to use you to send a rhema word to a person who is watching, or rather someone who has been following you, because you know there are so many people, so many youths who have been following you, like me. So it's an honor to have you on the show.
Thank you.
And we are privileged to have you. You are a blessing.
Amen.
Let me start by giving you your flowers, You are a blessing to this generation.
Amen.
Continue impacting our lives. Continue showing us the way. And even in marriage, continue telling us that, marriage works.
Amen.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
So let me allow you now to introduce yourself. You can tell us more about you. What do you want us to know about you?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, karibu sana.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
I'm grateful that this opportunity has been given to me.
Mm-hmm.
My name is Gladys Kelvin. Pale YouTube, I'm Gladys Kelvin.
Uh-huh.
I'm on TikTok, I'm on Facebook.
Yes.
I'm on IG as Gladys Kelvin, the worshipper, Gladys Kelvin, Gladys Kelvin. And above all, I am a born-again Christian, a mother,
Yes.
a wife, a preacher, a worshipper. So much about me.
Yes.
I don't know if I should say more.
Okay, we will learn more.
Thank you.
We are going to learn more about you as we move on.
Thank you.
Just pour whatever the Lord has guided you to give us today. We are really expectant. I know my viewers are so much expectant.
Wow.
And I'm also expectant. So just to take you back.
Yes.
Can you maybe tell us how was life growing up?
Exactly.
Yes.
I grew up in the village. In the village. Actually, I was born in a normal family. Of course, to a peasant farmer and a business person. My father was a tractor driver who was not educated. My mama was also not learned. But one thing I love about myself is that by God's grace, I picked the best from my mama and from my papa.
Wow.
One thing I'll never forget is that my father was always grateful for any small thing. My mom was generous, and I think I carry those virtues.
Wow.
I grew up in a normal life in the village, going to school sometimes, barefoot. Yeah, it didn't just happen.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did you manage to be this virtuous, great lady, How did you manage it?
I'm humbled.
Yeah.
Well, I must trace it to God. All I am today, I can only attribute it to God.
Wow.
What can I say? Well, of course, hard work, determination, courage. And my mama brought me up to be a liberal person. I've never known why she trusted that I'll manage.
Wow.
By all means, she would expect me to manage. Well, I didn't go to that kind of poverty that would make me not go to school. No, I went to high school. My fees was paid, but wanted to become a journalist.
Like me,
I really had wanted to.
Okay.
So after high school, it was not possible.
Okay.
Because there was no one to pay for that mass media course that I had wanted to take that time. You see, in our times it wasn't easy.
I know, yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's it.
But you're still following the path.
I'm still believing that I still can become.
Definitely.
Yeah.
There is still time.
There's still time.
Yeah, there's still, and we are still young.
There's still time, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Now to take you back also a bit, you've told us that God really helped you. There's a young girl there watching, and there's something you can share about your salvation. Like, when did you get born again? What really encouraged you? And how did you manage to stand for your youth?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. It wasn't easy growing up. Sometimes anyway, as a beautiful girl.
Yeah.
But by God's grace, I managed with backslidings here and there. But I remember very well that time that God picked me and made me become what I am. The journey began in 2006.
Okay.
When I met my spiritual father, Pastor Joseph Musa of JCC Kinyui. I met them together with Mama, and all I wanted was God.
Wow.
I was at such a time in my life that I needed God and nothing more. Fine, I had just graduated, I had money, a little money that time, and my education, but I needed God. I needed God. So when I interacted with them, when I got introduced to this God that I serve, they showed me that faith works.
Wow.
Faith in God. I chose to trust that God that they showed me. I chose to believe in God like I could see them believe. Not because I had prior experience with God. So their support, their prayers, and they being my role models has made me become.
Wow. Wow. I think they are watching. You can shout out to them.
I wish to holler my spiritual mama and papa wherever they are. Pastor Carol and Papa Musao, wherever they are. They really made me see God.
Wow. Wow.
And of course, even sometimes when people ask me why I believe that marriage works, I began seeing it work with them.
Wow, I love that.
Yeah.
And I think you're trying to tell us the importance of having a spiritual mentor. You can tell us the importance of having a spiritual mentor, because this generation, the Gen Zs, and they believe you don't have to have someone to call a father. Yeah, so tell us something.
Well, I will not say that it's only Gen Z. I will say that it's a habit in many people, not alone, leave alone the Gen Z, as in the young people. Yeah. Because I've seen even very mature persons who are like their own father, maybe, or their own mentor. They do things their own way. So now the importance. Now, of course, you need someone that you can look up to, a person you can submit to, a person that once in a while will rebuke you, a person that will correct you, a person that will show you direction. Well, I've been saying that it is possible that you could be learned.
Sure.
You could be traveled. Maybe you have gone all over the world, and that mentor of yours has not gone that far. But respect the age.
Sure.
The age difference could mean a lot. Yeah, so it's very important to have someone that you are answerable to. A person that will also give an account to God about you. I think that's
wow. Yeah, that's profound. And now to come to your personal life, yes?
Yeah.
You've already told us that you are married. So, can I take you back? let me take you back to the days, when you are just back.
Well,
before you chose Apostle.
Yes.
Yeah, I know he's watching. Before you chose him, there were so many.
Yeah.
What made you choose him?
Wow.
Maybe you've never told him. Tell him. Yeah.
Oh God! Now I have an opportunity to tell him in the world.
Uh-huh.
Well, it's interesting that when I accepted to love him and marry him, I didn't know I would love him the way I do love him today.
Wow.
I didn't know.
Wow, I like that.
But I remember sometimes in my discussions with my spiritual father, he told me, God must bring my way a man that will be able to bear with my ministry. Because it is big. Those were my father's words, my spiritual father. So it's not because there were no men around me, learned guys with money, with cars. I didn't look at what he had then, but I saw his love for God.
Wow.
Not because we are going to be praying in the house, of course. But I also remembered what my spiritual father had told me. Now you see it comes again, the need for a spiritual mentor.
Yes.
And the funniest bit is that when I told my spiritual father that I found a young man who wants to marry me, he asked me, what does he do? I told him, he's a teacher. What? He's a pastor. First I said he's a pastor.
Yes.
Because those days he was teaching, we were teaching together.
I remember,
So my father told me, mlete haraka sana. Haraka sana, like he already approved before he saw him. So I may say that his fear for God, his love for God is what made me, among other men, choose him.
Wow.
So
that is the main.
I should think so. Of course I love his height. But I really love the height. Sometimes I would talk about it na kwa nini unashindanga ukisema hii height? But of course.
Well, we thank God. And I'm just happy. I love your marriage the way it is. I love how you guys, are close to one another. It's like you're friends.
We are.
You are really good friends. Wow.
We actually began as friends. As friends.
Okay.
Then, we were colleagues. Then we became friends. We would find ourselves working from job together, talking for a long time.
Wow,
And then that time, he had not proposed.
Yeah.
So when he proposed, it looked like a joke.
A joke.
It really looked like a joke.
Yes.
Because I remember aliniambia, utakuja kwetu kesho na usikose kuja, utakuwa unakuja kwako. So I pretended I didn't hear what he said, and he never repeated.
Okay, well, we thank God. And now the rest is
history.
Yes. Okay, tell us about your courtship.
Our courtship was not very long. We didn't date for long. I suppose it is because we were friends first. And as friends,
and by the way, I remember, sorry to interrupt, there was a question. There was one of my viewer who asked me a question about how long are you supposed to date? What can you advise on that?
Thank you.
Yes.
I will not say there is a standard duration for courtship, because there are people who have got it for 8 years, 10 years, and they broke up.
Yes.
We actually didn't date for long. It's like it was not more than a year. It wasn't long, but it's working.
It's working, yeah.
So our dating was not too adventurous. Maybe we were naive or something,
But
here we are.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's no specific time to date?
I can't say so. I should think whatever is convenient for a couple is what they should go for.
Because I also sometimes think the distance matters. Let's say you are dating someone who is abroad. And they spend 2 years there, then they come, it will take a while.
It may take a while.
And then, so sorry for that, guys. There's one of us who is unwell. Pray for him. So I think it is all about the distance. And I always encourage my viewers to be honest. As long as you are honest, you are communicating everything with your partner.
Yeah.
You don't have to date for that long, you know.
It's not necessary.
Yeah. And as long as all of you are ready.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all about being ready. Yeah.
I think when we began dating, we already knew what we were going to do. We were not dating to know each other. We were dating now to marry, because we had known each other. We had worked together. We had served in ministry. Sometimes we would go singing. The funniest part. See, personally, I'm a worshiper by calling. And that time, my husband was doing some
rapping.
Yes.
So, okay.
I really loved that song. And him, he loved my worship.
Wow.
So I remember he said, those days, even before he told me that we will marry, before he proposed to me, he said, ataweza penda tuimbe pamoja a worship song. Up to date.
Have you?
We haven't. We haven't recorded that song.
Yeah,
we haven't.
Okay. I didn't know that.
So I hope we'll still do that song.
Yeah, maybe. We are waiting when
time is right.
Yes, he will make it happen.
Yeah.
Now, let me now take you now to marriage.
Yeah.
You've already wedded.
Yeah, we did wed. Yeah.
And sometimes there's a show we did with another friend about what we expected before we got into marriage, what we had been told, you know, and the reality. Were there some things you had really heard people say about marriages like this, and then there was something different? How was it?
I don't know whether I was funny or something, but I got into marriage expecting it to work.
Yes.
How? I don't know. Well, what do I say? I can't say I've been disappointed in marriage, personally. Not because my husband is an angel or I am an angel. Of course, there have been those times you are angry at one another.
Yes.
So what should I say about that one? Okay, and then I went into marriage having seen people fighting, having seen people shouting at each other. So in my entering into marriage, I had come in expecting not to have someone shout at me, not to have someone beat me, not to have someone talk harshly to me. So basically, I came in with an open mind. As in, like, sitaki mimi yangu iwe kama ya fulani. I don't know if I've answered your question.
Yeah, I get it. You know, having an open mind and trusting that God is going to guide you through it.
I went into it with an open mind.
Wow.
Not with too much expectations. Of course, in marriage, people say the husband should provide, the wife should submit, the wife should cook. You know, there are people who have to wake up in the morning and find the wife has blessed, has prepared breakfast and such. I'm a working woman.
Yes.
And sometimes my husband is a pastor. And I'm going to work, he is not going to work that early. It is not practical to take breakfast together. You see, such things like takula pamoja. Of course, I think that is it now.
Yes. Wow. How did you discover your calling and your ministry now as a worshiper?
Personally.
Personally now.
Well, could I say, I've been a soloist, like, since I was in primary school. I used to be a soloist in our church. I grew up in AIC. And I used to be soloist in the choir. I had a voice that people would appreciate. But this is not what made me become a worshiper. So when I joined JCC Kenyui, my spiritual father noticed that I could interpret. And in the process of interpreting, he could sing and I had to sing. And then I would sing like a singer. So As I continued, I found myself more into worship. Then one time, one of my pastor mentors, he's called Reverend Anthony, of Redeemed Wikidata. I remember God told him, and then he told me, God says you are a worshiper. And every time you worship, you must make sure people get into the Holy of Holies. That is something he told me.
Wow.
So now, I decided to stick to that lane.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think that's
I'm blessed by your songs.
Amen.
Go to her channel. The songs there are really, encouraging. They lead you to worship. I love what the Lord is doing in your life. Maybe there's someone there and who wants to start ministry, someone who is upcoming, and they really want to know, how do I manage it? How do I make it? Maybe you can share a word with them.
Well, as a worshiper, you only need to depend on God.
Yes.
And be totally sold out to God. I think that's what has made me.
Yes.
That's it.
Wow.
Fully dependent on God, totally sold out. Yeah.
Wow, you don't have to depend on your wisdom.
You don't.
It's all about God.
It's all about God. You see, as a worshiper, sometimes the kind of music you do is not for entertainment. In this generation, people will tell you, consider the market.
It's true.
The industry.
Yes.
Personally,
yes.
I didn't begin to worship to get money. But money will follow me. Riches should, because it is a work of God.
Yes.
Yeah, but the point is, in worship, you totally depend on God. Yeah.
Wow. Anything else you can share with us about your ministry?
About worship?
Yes.
Of course, you also have mentors. Sometimes my music is so much inspired by the late Angela Chibalonza. I've also been inspired by Don Moen, the kind of music he does. And my number one mentor is Reverend Kavikiona.
Yeah. She's a powerful woman.
That's my number one mentor.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, so
that's
you need
amazing.
mentors also.
Even in the ministry journey, you need mentors.
You do.
Wow, that's amazing. And I hope my viewers are watching. If you are there, you are upcoming, you are there, you are wondering, how will I start this, the Lord will guide you. Can you share maybe some of the challenges that you've come across in the ministry, in your calling, as you sing? Yeah.
In the singing ministry, in the worship ministry, of course, we do videos and audio music. Sometimes you may go to a studio and maybe the producer doesn't understand what actually you had intended to have. So sometimes they may want to impose their will on you. Like there's the kind of song you've come with. Of course, personally, I have no knowledge on the keyboard and such stuff. I love it, but I don't know how to play. And of course, you see the programming depends totally on your producer. Sometimes they may mess you up.
Sure.
The second thing is the videography. Sometimes it's what you want, what is in your mind, and then they don't give you what you want. Other times, you want a video, and you don't know how it should be done. Yes. But you want it anyway. Yeah. Also, sometimes as you record, you want the song and you don't know how. But the worst is when you go to studio, do a song, and you're told, imepotea.
Oi. Where? Okay.
Or you do a video, and they tell you, tulipoteza clips.
Where do you start?
Like, angalia sahi, where we are.
Yeah.
How would you feel after all these hours of sitting?
Just imagine.
And then after 5 months of waiting, they tell you, ati clips. Kuna jamaa fulani ndiacha na disk. Na ameenda Kilifi. As in this era,
so disappointing.
You expect that that person can get the clips on WhatsApp, even if that is the cheapest way to get them, or whatever means. The worst, that is the worst. Actually, it happened to me. That is the worst.
Wow.
Kupoteza video, that's the worst. You have spent your time, your energy, your money. Actually, the energy is the problem.
The energy, and of course money, you know, you'll have to spend.
You see?
Shooting and all that.
Yes.
The locations.
Yes.
Oh.
You pay for the locations.
Yeah.
There's what you had expected with such a particular location.
Yeah.
Of course, maybe you had, there's an expectation you had, and you cannot transfer the same energy. I tell you for free.
Yeah.
You will not transfer the same energy to the same song in another setting.
Yes.
Except if God enables you.
Yeah. I understand, you know. Oh. Okay. Any other challenge that you've come across?
Well, of course, I began singing those days of CDs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I remember those days.
So, you do a song, the audio, and then you have some CDs. Then you meet with people, you of course, selling the CDs. Yeah. Maybe many times, personally, I would just carry them in my handbag. Or if I go to minister in a church, I would have some. Yeah. But then the worst would be, you tell someone to buy the song, the CD. Anakwambia, ukieka anakuuliza iko na picha. Unamwambia hapana. Anakwambia ukieka picha nilete. Like, so how are you going to weka the pictures? How are you expected to do the video? Without what audio you have, hawaja kusupport. And I think there's also another challenge.
But was it hard during the era of CDs and all that? Was it so hard for you guys?
It was very hard.
You know, now, at least YouTube, when you grow, you will be given something.
Yeah. Then the other thing was, is also with marketing. Look at me, many times I'm busy at work. I would see people going to perform. Of course, mimi sijakuwa na hiyo tamaa ya kwenda ati niimbe stage niuze, no. But then there would be an issue of marketing. Who will distribute your music for you? I think we should be saying thanks to YouTube and whatever other social media platforms, because you can just have your music or whatever stuff you have,
and people will
without asking for anybody's license. There was also the issue of having your music played on TV or on radio. It would depend on who do you know. You see. But I'm grateful to God. Sometimes my music has been on some TVs, so on radio, although not so much, but some people used by God assisted me get there.
The destiny helpers.
We cannot pretend there is no need for destiny helpers.
There is. There is.
I must acknowledge destiny helpers are needed. They are really needed.
Maybe you can share to my viewers something about that, you know, because even in your life, I know there's someone who has held your hand. That is a destiny helper. Maybe you can just tell them something about the destiny helpers. And who is this destiny helper, you know?
I cannot pretend that I didn't get anyone to support me. Actually, this song you say you love, I got some pastor, it's called Pastor J, who accepted the song, the original song that you knew had to be rebranded. So this person directed me to the producer that would do that song better. And you can be sure I heard you knew first, and the kind of song I did at your wedding are different. So that destiny helper, I can never pretend he didn't assist me. One, he said, Anna, notice this song needs to be given a better touch. And he feels my ministry needs to go to another level. And so, with the assistance of him and his wife, I was able to do that video again in Nairobi, and the song came out better, very good.
It is powerful.
Yeah, actually people would call me a hardy anyway, but that's not my name.
I think most of the people call you that.
They do. Oh, well, sometimes I wonder, when you have very many songs and they have nicknamed you a hardy, what will they call you? What a great hardy. Yeah, but anyway, I think it is a song also that was ministering to me.
Yes.
It really ministered to me also.
Wow.
I'll tell you, like, the first brand of the same song, kuna part haziko. But the last part of the Rebranding, kuna part prophetic.
I remember you said.
Natangaza promotion.
Yes.
Wewe pokea watoto, ahadi, ahadi. Nawe pokea kazi. Wewe pokea nyumba yako.
Amen.
Visa yako ya kwenda ng'ambo. I had been done with recording that song. Then nikiwa nimelala, the last day hizo maneno zikakuja. So I went to redo the song.
Wow.
And I think it speaks to people, to myself first.
So much.
Yeah.
It's so powerful. Guys, just go and watch it. Like also, and also subscribe on our channel.
Gladys Kelvin.
Yes, you'll be blessed.
Amen.
Wow, now that you've really touched on family, parenting, how do you balance? How do you balance career? How do you balance your calling, your ministry? How do you balance even being a mom? Yes.
Well, my calling. My calling, family, and
yeah.
Okay.
And career.
And career. Yeah, I'm a career woman. I'm a teacher. I don't know why many times I've not been telling people I'm a teacher.
They don't know, by the way.
Most people have always thought I'm a preacher and a singer.
Yes.
But I'm a teacher. I teach English. As a mother, as a wife, I love family very much. If there's one thing I treasure in this world, if there's something I treasure, my number one, before my job, after God, is my family. Yes,
and so maybe you can share with us, how do you balance being a career woman, being in the ministry as a worshiper, you know, and also being a mom?
First of all, before I become a mom, I'm a wife.
Yes.
And I said that if there's something I value, it is my family. It comes first after God. So it comes second.
Yeah,
God,
second.
then my family.
Yes.
Of course, I try my level best to be available for my children and my husband, especially on Saturdays, because as a pastor, now I'm a pastor and a pastor's wife. As a pastor, on Sunday morning, I have the youth service, which begins at 9.
Yeah.
It's like my week begins on Sunday, my working week.
Yes.
And I always make sure that I do some meals for my family. Many times. Once in a while I will do a meal for my family. Many times I'll do supper. That is creating time for them and doing what my boys want. I'm a mother of 3 boys.
Wow, yes.
And if they ask me to cook for them, I do. You see, I realize cooking for children also. Then my last born really needs attention. So sometimes I have to leave work early. The work that government of Kenya has given me. Sometimes I have to leave early for my family. Many times I give my family my evenings. All my evenings.
Yes.
I try as much as possible to give my evenings to my family, because sometimes I may have to leave the house as early as 6. I know you know that. As early as 6. But my evenings I dedicate them mostly to my family. And then Sunday is another day. I spend the whole day in church and the evening to the family. But Saturday I try my level best to spend more time
with them,
even though I have other commitments. I try to spend time with them.
Wow.
Yeah.
It really needs grace,
It's by God's grace.
Wow. How do you manage now to balance between being a mom and being a wife? Yes. Now those two.
Yes. A mom and a wife. Of course, I've heard men complain that with the coming in of their children, their wives.
It's true. They say that.
Their wives spend less time with them. They have no much attention. But I can't explain how. But a worshiper is a lover. If you didn't know.
Okay.
A worshiper is a lover. I love people. So it's not hard for me to love my husband, my children, and I have a space for my husband, a space for my children. So I don't struggle. I don't struggle expressing my appreciation to my husband.
Yes.
And I don't steal some of his attention and offer it to my children.
Okay.
I think kila mtu akona place yake in my life, and by God's grace I manage. Sijasikia siku moja my husband amesema siku zote una spend na watoto. Na pia sijasikia watoto wangu wakiniambia saa zote unakaa na dada.
Okay. I think that is so good, and there's someone there watching, someone who feels like maybe it's too much. Is a new mom, is a newlywed, they have a kid there, they don't know. The likes of us. Yes, it's the first time, you don't know how to balance it, you feel like you are struggling. What can you advise us?
I will still say, of course, for us who work, your husband is your number one priority. Because before children came, that man was. So if the husband is given his attention, as akitoka kwa nyumba amepewa attention yote, akirudi kwa nyumba utakuwa umeshinda na watoto mchana yote, na bado unataka ukae na wao akiwa like you give them his attention when he comes. See, I think we can balance in this way. If maybe the husband is working and he may come in the evening, in our case, yes, we both enter our houses in the evening. But personally, nitafika mapema. You will come a bit late. Yes. So I can't be in the house between 5 and 6 and 7 na sijakaa na watoto. Because you also have house helps. Yes. So there are things a house help will do, and some you must do. Yes. You must do.
I think the emphasis there. What are the we must do?
We must do. Yes. Attention to your husband.
Yeah. Okay.
Of course, I'm not saying ati lazima ufue nguo za Bwana, lazima umpikie kila siku. By God's grace, Mungu anapaswa wasaidie tu pia. When you can, you do meals for them. Or if they have a favorite dish, you can do for them yourself. Okay, wow. If there's maybe a certain way of doing his clothes that he wants, don't leave it to the maid. You can do it yourself. If there's something he sends you in person, like serve food, maybe there are men who don't want to be served by the maid. So why not serve him? It's not expensive. And Sarah related very well with Abraham, calling him Lord. Yeah, like I holler my Lord. Personally, I really appreciate him.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing. And let me now take you back to being a pastor's wife. Yes. And I think that is something I think I honor the women who are pastors' wives. Sometimes you see that you really have a lot. You have your family, you have us as the congregation, you have the women in the church who are relying on you, and you really have a lot. How do you manage to be a pastor's wife? That is wear that hat, and yet you have other so many hats to wear.
As a pastor's wife, first of all, a pastor's wife is a wife.
Yes.
Wife to that man. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And she's not church property.
Ah.
Yes.
Okay.
She's
Yes.
not church property. She's the property of the husband.
Yes.
Or I don't know if you wanted me to share about myself. Now, in this case, as a pastor's wife, you may be, okay, people look at a pastor's wife as a person that should be straight.
Yes.
As a person who never gets angry. As a person who should never correct anyone. But I told you earlier, I'm a pastor's wife.
Yes.
And an ordained pastor.
Ah.
I don't know if I told you so.
Ah, wow.
So, for me, it has not been too challenging because I am a pastor's wife who is a pastor.
Ah, okay. Wow.
I think maybe that has assisted me because it's like I got ordained by my husband almost immediately after we got married.
Oh.
I got ordained into pastoral ministry. So to me, being a pastor's wife has not been such a big challenge.
Yes.
Well, I know people look at pastor's wife kama watu wa kuhurumiwa. And I hate that. I really hate that.
Yeah. It's okay. Let's tell them, you know.
Haupasi kutuhurumia. We chose that man. Si mwingine amechagua soja.
Yes.
Mbona aturumii bwana bibi wa soja? Mbona aturumii bibi wa mwalimu bwanake anaamka mapema? So that attitude, that mentality that pastor's wife anateseka.
And a struggle.
She chose that one. Kama ange manage, Mungu angemruhusu aolewe na mwendeshaji wa magari, aolewe na polisi, aolewe na MP. So I think also the attitude and the mentality that society has defined pastors' wives. I think personally I refused to be defined by what people think about a pastor's wife. I think that is what helped me.
Wow.
I refused to be defined. Wanatarajia mimi nisiwahi kasirika, wanatarajia mimi nisiwahi wa correct, wanatarajia mimi nikuange smiling machine, wanatarajia mimi
available for them
all the time, available, nikuwe na pesa. The funniest bit about me, as a pastor's wife, I don't avail myself if I'm not invited. That's me.
I think I like that.
Yeah. I will come if I'm invited. Unless my husband tells me, ninataka twende kwa hii. Why? I am a working person. I am a mother. I'm also that woman huyo pastor atakuja kupata kwa nyumba.
Sure.
So I cannot be there for all meetings. Ningependa lakini itanivunja.
Because you know most of the people will complain, why is he leaving the wife? They are not together. You know, I've had so many issues with that.
Actually, there's one time, hata juzi tu, a certain guy had invited us to their house. My husband akamwambia sijui kama ata make. So kufika, the jamaa says, yeye kujua kama huwa anaenda job. Like there are people who have always thought I'm a pastor and a worshipper. So and sometimes anaweza enda place nikosekane. So there are people may not understand mbona sijakuja.
Ama muliachana.
Ama walikasirikiana ama
walikosana. I don't know. I think we need to really respect the pastors' wives. Give them the honor they deserve.
You see, there's no title called pastor's wife. There's no title. But there's that office, there's that position that she holds. Number one, being the wife of that man of God that you really honor. That man of God that lays hands on you every Sunday.
You know, I've thought of something. There was just a debate, people talking about how because you are a pastor's wife, we expect you to be in a certain spiritual authority. I don't know whether you've heard that. like you're supposed to be there preaching, you're supposed to be there doing this, and then maybe there's a pastor's wife who is really humbled. Yeah, ana hizo mambo mingi. Have you ever had an issue with that?
I've had such.
Yes.
Hapo ndio tunakuja sasa kwa attitude and societal expectations for the pastor's wife. And sometimes wale ambao wana hizo wanatarajia ni kwa sababu there's someone they look at, wanakupima na mwingine. She's not like our pastor's wife, ama she's not like Pastor Saul's wife, you see. But
or maybe they think you are not born again. You are not really born again if you are not doing that, you know.
It's one thing to be a pastor's wife. It's another thing to be called.
That's the point. Yeah.
You can be a pastor's wife. Kwa sababu pastor akioa, he didn't go looking for a minister. He didn't want an evangelist in his house. He had wanted a wife. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So if she comes with that package, shukuru Mungu sana. Yeah. If she comes preaching and singing and doing all those things that you are saying. But if she is not called, kwanza called, calling, hiyo ni shida sana. If she has not been called to preach, to be an evangelist, to be an apostle, you don't expect her to do so.
Yes. In fact, I usually say that she has a great role, kazi mingi, to support this man whom you think is
super.
Yes.
This superman is because she's there for him.
What are some of the challenges you've come across as now a pastor's wife?
As a pastor's wife.
I know you are a pastor, yes, but now as just being there supporting your husband and you have that ministry. What are some of the challenges you've come across?
As a pastor's wife.
And how have you managed to overcome them? Or rather, how are you overcoming?
What are some of these challenges? Sometimes, as a pastor's wife, people may expect your children to behave like pastors.
Wow.
They are not. So it pains me if someone tries to tell my son that wewe mbona unafanya hivyo na wewe ni mtoto wa pastor.
I think that is something that our society does not understand.
It does not appreciate.
We like judging.
Pastors' children are not pastors.
And now to take you to a point where I usually hear people saying, watoto wa pastor ndio wanaharibika. Have you heard that?
That's a myth. I've heard that. It's a myth. Any person can have children who have gone astray. Mtu yeyote watoto wake wanaweza haribika. Sio wa pastor. Na kwa nini wanasema watoto wa pastor ndio wanaharibika? Does it mean hawapendi mapasta?
I don't know. Sometimes I don't really understand our society.
Our society, they have too much expectations on the pastor. Well, the Bible says, if anyone desires the office of a bishop, he must be a husband of one wife and children who fear God. That's it. But then, should it happen that they don't fear God? Is it the making of the pastor? It is the work of the devil. But by God's grace, since we do our part. As pastors, we should do our part. As pastor's wife, we do our part. So, hiyo ni challenge moja. Challenge nyingine inaweza kuwa gani? Sometimes the church may expect the pastor's wife not to rebuke anyone. They expect to be rebuked by the pastor himself.
Only.
Some other times also, it's like society does not expect a pastor's wife to have a stand.
Sure.
Or even to preach when the pastor is around. Actually, kuna one of the pastor's wife alisema, ni kama wana expectiwa tumiwe kama generator, stima ikienda. Na sasa. So now you can imagine a worshiper like me, a preacher like me, awe hapaswi kuhubiri ama hawezi kuimba. But I thank God.
Yeah.
My husband himself has been the person that makes everyone around them understand this is my wife. Also, by God's grace, the grace upon my life has allowed me to overcome any of these challenges. As in, I'm a pastor's wife, but I'm called myself. The calling on me gives me the confidence.
Wow.
There's nothing I can't talk about personally. Whether it be LGBTQ, whether it be whatever it is, there's nothing I can't talk about because of the calling, assignment, and mandate upon me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. That is powerful.
Yeah.
Wow. Have you ever come across criticism while serving?
Yeah. Like sometimes you would be told you are very strict. Yeah, that one maybe you're very strict, but you're only doing what you're called to do.
You're called to
I don't know.
Yes. Or rather, those negative comments, negative energy. How do you deal with it?
How I deal with it, I would say it has not been too much.
Okay.
Personally, I can't explain how. But where I preach, the people I preach to, by God's grace, appreciate my position.
Wow.
I don't know how. But I remember when I got married, there's something I talked about in church. That time we were not in the current church. And some people complained. Nimesema, sipendi maskini. No. Mimi nilikuwa nimesema, I hate poverty. Me, I grew up in a poor family. Yani, si ile sana. Lakini niligrow nikachukia umaskini.
Yes.
So as I preached, nilisema, ningeomba tu Mungu atuondolee umaskini. Mimi sipendi umaskini. So people sat, wakasema, hey, amesema hapendi maskini.
Propaganda.
I think that is the worst. But then I remember that time my husband alisema, okay, if you talk about my wife, nitakuja kwako personally. That made that to be like almost the first and the last time.
Wow.
Haikusemwa tena kwa hiyo church. Yeah, so I'm trying to say that the position of a pastor's wife also depends so much on the husband. How he reacts.
Yes. And I like how your husband reacted, you know, covering you.
Yeah.
That was the greatest thing.
Just like I will not stand anyone talking about him.
Yes.
You talk about him and
I think that is how marriage should be.
That's it.
Cindy, that is how,
protecting each other.
Yeah.
See, kuna hii song imeimbwa ya Scarecrow, umeisikia? Ya Wakamba.
Oh yeah.
Into my spirit that some of these men when wanaitwa hiyo Scarecrow, hiyo mateleme, they are a product of their wives. If the man is to be respected, the wife has a lot to do. If the woman is to be respected, the man also has a role to play.
Yes.
So vile watu wataniona ita depend pia na vile bwanangu ataniuza kwao. Vile watu wataona bwanangu ita depend na vile mimi na muuza.
Yes.
Like you said, unaona we are friends. So wakimuona they see he is a respected man.
Yes.
And anyway, Proverbs 31 inasema nani ataweza ona mwanamke mzuri and his wife, his husband, her husband anaheshimiwa malangoni. Yeah, so that bit of Scarecrow. Vile mwanamume ataonekana ni vile bibi yake pia atabehave. In as much as kuna watu wamejikosea wenyewe heshima, lakini there is a role the wife will play. If in those weak moments of the husband, what does the wife do? In those weak moments of the wife, what does the husband do? The weak moments of the husband, what does the wife do? Yeah.
Wow. What do you do to make sure that you really support your husband in the ministry?
Number one, I pray. That one, I pray. I pray. Because I know all things with us begin and end with God.
Yes.
So my number one tool is prayer.
Wow.
I pray for him, I pray for us. Number two, if there are projects in church, I give my money. I do give. As long as I am in a position, I will give.
Yeah.
When he needs to be accompanied by myself to whichever event, I create time and accompany him.
Wow.
I think that is support.
Wow, yes.
I try my level best to be there on every Sunday service. Sometimes I may not be available for the weekday services because of the nature of my work. And also our children are not grown enough. But I think that is how much I do. And of course, I would defend his image.
Wow.
And of course, being a wife.
Yes, you know.
Supporting is being a wife.
Wow, wow. And now as we conclude, guys, I hope you're still enjoying the show. You're learning a lot because we have an amazing guest who is really equipped. You know, I always say that she's equal to the task. As we conclude now, what keeps you going?
Wow. What keeps me going is number one, God.
Yes.
My dependence on God. That is number one. I depend on God for small and big things. I have faith that anything I purpose to achieve, whatever it is, however complicated it is, I will, with God at the center of it. That is now in life. Number two is a kind of lifestyle I've chosen. I am a worshipper by calling, and that's my lifestyle. What else keeps me going in ministry? It is what I stand for, what I've been called to do, my mandate and my assignment. When God called me, he gave me a verse that I always remember every time I do ministry. Matthew 10, 8 to 10. Heal the sick, deliver the bound, resurrect the dead. Freely you received, freely you shall give. Wherever you go, do not carry extra sandals, because a servant is worth his reward. Those are the words that God gave me when he called me. So in line with my calling, I always make sure at the back of my mind, I know I have been sent to deliver. I've been sent to heal. I've been sent to resurrect. And at the same time, a part of my assignment includes preserving a generation. That is why I love youth ministry. Napenda hii Gen Z sana. Naipenda sana. I also have a love and a burden for family. I like it when I see marriages working. I like it when I see husband and wife struggling to make ends. Huwa inaniumiza. Nikiona tu mtu ananiambia ako karibu kudivorce, huwa inaniuma. I think that is what keeps me going in ministry. And of course, understanding what I stand for. That one, what I stand for. It may not be what others stand for. It is what I stand for. Personally, I've been raised spiritually on sober doctrine. Sober. Ile haina ujanja, haina panganga, haina stories za jaba. Hiyo ndio nililelewa in it. Sober doctrine. Nilioneshwa Mungu, imani, maombi na word. Period. And those are the things I stand for.
Hey, okay. I think I'm really honored to have you here. I'm honored. Now that you've really touched on marriage and you love marriages and families working, how do you manage to ensure that your marriage is working?
Mine. I always say prayer.
Yes.
Prayer.
Yeah, it's okay.
Prayer. Prayer.
You know,
prayer.
because there are so many people who are struggling. They are in their marriages, others are young marriages, others are even almost divorcing. Maybe you can just share a word. They are wondering, will it work?
It will work. When God is at the center of any marriage, it will work. Any. Because He is the author of marriage. For me, I invite God in it, in prayer. I also read the word of God very many times. I read it. And I tell you for free, kama kuna kitu ina deliver, ni neno la Mungu. So, see, when I got married, ningekosewa na nikasirike even for 2 days. Like, siongei, because I'm one person, nikikasirika, I don't like talking. I fear, naeza sema kitu yenye, I'll regret. That has been me, tangu nikiwa mdogo. So, ningenyamaza, so I don't talk to my husband, and nabaki na ile pain. Na niko ule mtu, ninge decide, ningepanga, jioni nikirudi ndakuja kulia. That is me.
Yes.
So, ningekaa na ile pain inakaa hapo, but I can't explain how this pain disappeared. One thing I know, it is worship. You will never see a worshipper. If someone tells you they are a worshipper, they are a lover. And they, okay, iyo worship, pouring my heart to God, has made me forgiving, has made me, hata nikifanyiwa nini nasamehe tu. You see, everybody around me, including my husband. And anyway, how can I forgive others if I don't forgive my husband? So for me, prayer, having God inside of it, forgiving, forgiveness. The Bible says 7 times 70 in one day. So if it is one in 1 month, sasa si hata sijafikia quarter ya forgive, or one in after several months. So for me, on my side, forgiveness, prayer, and having the word of God has made me manage.
And we are grateful. We've really learned a lot. And so my viewers, thank you for staying tuned. Thank you for watching, liking, continue subscribing, and also sharing with your friends. Let us stay together in this show, because we are going to be inspired. Every week it's a new video. Every week we are growing. Share with everyone, and let us continue growing together by the grace of God. So be blessed until we meet again next time. Thank you.
Thank you.